Hey, what's up guys? So today we'll be solving difference of squares. Difference of squares is rather simple, rather easy. Takes a little bit of practice. I think I'll just start out with the basic formula for difference of squares. So I'm gonna color code this so you guys can see what I mean. So when we have let's see, a squared, right, minus a b squared, right? That's usually our basic fundamental that we would see as difference of square, a b squared minus an a squared, and basically to solve that isn't really difficult at all. So we'll start off like this, right? So this is just our formula I would use, right? A plus a times a squared, b and b squared should give us b squared. So now this is the tricky part. So then you say, then how would you know what's next? The signs. Well, the signs turn out to be they're just opposite signs, and I'll prove this to you guys right here so you guys can see that I'm not making any baloney up. And I'll start it off like this. Right? So we multiply as a, I'm going to color code this so you guys can see. We multiply as a times this other a, and this a times this b, right? That should give us a squared plus ab, right? So now if we multiply this b times that a, right, and this b times this other b, that should give us this. So now we should get minus ab, b times b should be a minus because the negative, the b bringing this, b is bringing this negative in, so a negative that and negative that, right? Right? So now you see you have this format where you have a, boom, 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 right? The a part, when we multiply the a, it did this, and when we multiply the b, it did this. So now we would just clean it up, collect like terms as we call it. This a doesn't collect with anything. This ab and this ab, they collect each other. 1 minus 1, boom, boom, right? That's gone. And we're simply left with a squared, right, minus b squared. And that turns out to be the same thing as we just did from the start. So see how this formula actually works? So that's the formula that you need, right? So that's all you need to know is that simple formula of a minus b, a plus b. As long as it's an a squared minus a b squared, that should be your formula. That's 100% your formula. That's the first thing you should think. A square minus a square, that's my formula, right? That's the first thing you should think of. And we'll solve one right now for you guys. We'll solve a simple one so you can see what I mean. P squared minus 16, right? So remember what I said. A square minus a square, boom, that's the formula we're using, right? So we should start constructing our, so now our A should be red. I'm gonna make our A red, right? And our B should be blue, right? So if you guys want, we can start off with the signs since we already know the signs. Boom, plus, minus, right? The order doesn't really matter because I know I put minus in the first one and I put plus in the second one. So the order doesn't really matter. As long as you have a plus and a minus, you should be fine. But that's the first thing that you need to know. So we know that if we had an a square, we made it simply a. So we have a p square, we're gonna make it simply p. And usually, by default, we usually use x's, but it's the same. It's the same method. If we have x, just makes x squared. We just make it x. So now the 16 actually happens to be a square, which would be 4, right? And if we solve it, if we do it the same way, we should get the same equation, right? So I think the hardest part is actually knowing the formula, and knowing the 16 actually breaks it down into 2, right? 4 times 4 should give us 16. That's the hardest part, I believe. We'll do another one that's a little bit more challenging and that actually tests out your knowledge. Let me see. I'm looking at my textbook. Okay, I found one. Okay. So 64 m to the power of 4 minus 4y to the power of 4. So now you would think, well, the formula states that they're squares, right? These are 4s. Well, you can definitely break these numbers down in half. So I mean, not in halves, but if you square root these numbers, you'll find out they kind of follow that same method. We do have a square here, so I think the square here and the square here simply do work. So I think you should know, like, oh well, they're both squares. Well, they're both square. These two are squares. These could be squared. You can test this out, but before we keep going, we first have to we can simplify this equation, right? So the way that we'll do that is we gotta find numbers that they have in common, and off the bat we can say, oh, they both have 2 in common. Do they have 3 in common? No, 3 doesn't break into 4. Okay, what about the 4? The 4 fits into both of these, so we can pull out that 4 actually. So we pulled it out, and so by pulling out a 4 from here, 16 divided by 4, that should give us 16 divided by 4. That should give us 16. And we gotta bring down that m to the power of 4. 4 divided by 4 should be 1. Y to the power of 4. You don't need to write the 1 down because the 1 is technically there. It's invisible, but it's there. So now you say, well, it's looking more like this now, right? Or it's looking more like this. And we just did that, so it kind of looks more like this. But those m's to the 4, they're tricky. But we could just break it down off the bat. Let's see what happens if we break it down. So we're gonna bring down that 4 because that 4 has to be brought down. We didn't do anything to it. We just gotta bring it down. So that's 16m. So like I said, we're gonna bring down that 4, right? That makes sense, like we did here, right? You gotta bring down those m's, right? And because we're breaking that m in half, we gotta put m square, right? So now we gotta flip the signs, right? 1 minus 1 plus. So now, what do we do with this y? Oh, we gotta bring the y and we gotta square that y. Right? So you say, well, we did it already, we're done. And this is where a lot of people usually finish. This is a step where a lot of people like finish off in this step. And you're not wrong if you finish off there, but you're just not done. And the reason for that is because like I said, if you have a square minus a square, you can keep going. This is a square and this is a square, and you can keep going. A square minus a square, right? This one you can't keep going on this because of the plus sign. The formula states in the beginning that it has to be a minus sign. Has to be a minus sign. And this one has a plus, so this won't work. This has a minus, so this technically still, we can still keep going. So I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So we're gonna bring down this one, right? The 4m square plus the y square, because that's done. That's already done. The formula states negative, that has a plus, so technically we can keep that the way it is. So now this is where we're stuck, right? We're technically not stuck. We're just gonna keep using that same method. We're gonna keep y the same color. We're gonna keep y and y, right? We're talking about this right here, right? We're gonna go to the sign. So remember we said negative, plusative, right? So now we're gonna move on to this 4, right? The square root of 4, that'll be 2. Oh, this isn't working. That isn't working. Okay, I don't know, it wasn't working. So 4m, 2m, right? So now we're gonna do the same thing over here. Boom. And that's where you finish it off. That's how you do this equation. So when you have, sometimes when you have to the power of 4 or to the power of 8, or for some reason, or some square root number, you can keep breaking this number down. You probably end up with something like this. And sometimes you can keep going, like in this case you were able to keep going on this part. You can go on this one. So boom, that would be our answer. So just remember to follow the original format, which is, this is the original format. This is right. So just follow these this format and this format, and you should be good. So if you guys really did think this was a good video, it's helped you understand a little bit more of the difference of squares, just drop a thumbs up, comment down below if you want to see more videos. If you need any extra help, just comment down your questions or your problems down below, and I could probably help you out. Thank you guys for watching. Like